Welcome to TV Show The Booth. I'm Tim, and we have a really great show for you today. We have hip-hop artist Armand, and shaking up the boxing world, Olympic hopeful DeAntoine Jackson. And coming up next, we have Lynn Whitfield and Yves Ellis. Don't go anywhere. You're watching TV Show The Booth.
Welcome to TV Show The Booth. We are standing here with Nina Turner, and we have stars in the building. We have Miss Lynn Whitfield, who is a beautiful actress. We got a lot of people that want change in the community, but they're not willing to get up out of their beds, off the TV, stop playing the video games to go vote. What are some things that we can do in the community as a people to help people get off the bed, stop watching TV to vote? What can we do?
Just remind them of our great history and the legacy, how hard it took for us to get to this place, for African Americans to be able to vote, for women to be able to vote, for disenfranchised populations in general, that they can't sit on the sidelines because they owe a debt of gratitude to people whose names they know and names they don't know. And it is their obligation, it's their right, but it's also their responsibility. So if they want to shape their community, if they care, if they're concerned about police brutality, they must vote. If they want their children educated, they must vote. If they want their streets paved, they must vote. If they want to drive down the cost of college tuition debt, trillions of dollars worth of debt right now, they must vote. If they care about their grandmamas and their mamas, they must vote. And so there should be no excuses for anybody to exercise that most fundamental right to vote. They got to care enough to be a part of. And when you are in a representative democracy, you don't get a timeout. You don't get to say, I don't feel like it. You must do it. You got to vote.
When you're talking to young people, and as you work, it's to personalize it, to really personalize it. How will voting affect or not affect your life, your job, your reproductive rights, your girlfriend's reproductive rights? If you want her to be able to have birth control, you need to vote. If you want to be able to go and get a fair position at a fair wage, you need to vote. If you want to be able to not have felonies and things and be put in jail unjustly and stay there, you need to vote. That's voting for the judges, voting for all that down ballot stuff, the people who are in your community, policing your community, your police chief, your prosecutors, we have to vote. Ferguson would not have looked like Ferguson looked if we had had more politicians, public servants who cared and understood the community. So if you want a wholeness and fullness of life and want it to look like you think it should be, then you need people who are representing your interests. That's why they must vote. For the people who went before us, before their future, they have to be involved in making the decisions, and they can. People try to make them feel like they can't make any decisions, they don't have any control over their lives. It's intimidation tactics to leave a young black man in a street for 4 hours after you have gunned him down and murdered him, right? That scares people. Remember, this is what we've been doing. No, you've got to remind them that the quality of their lives has to do with the succinct correctness of their vote for their interest to have a good quality of life. So that's what, as a young man, that's what you can do, and they will get up because people want to be happy. People want to be joy. You know what I'm saying? To personalize it to their everyday life.
Y'all heard it first from the legendary Lynn Whitfield. It's Focus. More of what you want from TV Show The Booth.
What's up? This is Eric Bennet. I want y'all to keep it locked right here on The Booth. Right here.
The power of film is so important because if it wasn't for film, we wouldn't know our history. When I went to D.C. this past summer and marched on Washington, I wouldn't have known that, what that looked like had I not seen it on video. I wouldn't have known what the March on Washington with Martin Luther King looked like had I not seen the video. And I'm like, those people did it in church shoes.
Right.
That's how they did. In August.
In a suit.
In a suit.
Three-piece suit. We could barely get kids to pull their pants all the way up, but they was marching
Imagine
in
listen,
suits.
man, with finger waves.
Man.
When we talk about voter suppression, I think about if someone else is listening thinking they don't want their vote suppressed, obviously, so what are some things people can do to make sure that they can make every single vote that they give count?
Well, I think that I'm glad you ended the word with count, because that's why the campaign is called Count Me In. These efforts that are going on now, because the opposition is because they're counting on what we're not going to do. They're counting on the fact that we're not going to care. They're counting on the fact that we're not going to be registered. There's a poll where one of the laws is a voter ID law. Yeah. And they're very strict voter ID laws. So when you have 900,000 African Americans who live in the state of Ohio, 1 out of 4 of them don't have an ID. So really, honestly, we can't blame, I can't blame a Republican or an opposer of being an opposer. That's their job. Right. So really, my conversation is us and our generation. We've got to stop being disposable, and we've got to make sure that we're productive members of society by even at least having a government-issued ID. So you can, vote. You know what I mean? And I think that that's the problem, is that, I once fit the mold for that, and that's what I'm here for, to say, young people, we can change, from whether you have Any Given Sunday to Count Me In or any platform. I mean, we can really change.
Yeah, there's a lot of kids out there who think just because I don't drive, I don't need an ID, or I don't need a license.
Right.
And it's like, well, I'm not going to get a license until I get a car. Right. So there's a lot of cats riding a bus, just hanging out on the corners with no ID. Yeah. Just thinking to themselves they don't need it. Right. And for any other reason, this is a reason right here.
But I think Shay made a really good point. Like, no matter where you are in your walk of life, you can be a part of this movement somehow. So even if you are that person that, listen, I just post Vines and Instagram videos, you know what I'm saying? Well, at least post something about this, you know what I mean?
Post something positive.
Yeah. And that stuff is important. People talk down like, oh, all you're doing is posting something on Facebook. We can post a lot of things on Facebook. So if you can post something positive, do it. Yeah. Like, to me, that's important. All that stuff counts.
Make some noise, Columbus. If you're feeling me right now, and if you got a dream, whether it's to rule the world or if it's just to wake up in the morning, I need one finger in the air right now. One finger in the air right now. I don't care what your dream is. You know why I put one finger in the air? Because you're pointing to the person that's going to make that dream come to pass. You know what I'm saying?
Anytime God kind of gives you something, he walks you through it first. So you kind of have the residue in the experience so you can speak from that place. So everything that I talk about on that project, from fatherhood to failures and disappointments to victories and celebrations, I have experienced all of those things in great detail. So they're all right there on that project.
Now I need y'all to put 2 fingers in the air. 2 fingers in the air. 1 second, 2 fingers in the air, because what that is, that's the journey, baby. That's the journey. The journey outweighs the destination. 2 is greater than 1.
This is like this is my second album. It's a long story because I've been making music since I was a child, teenager, so it's nothing for me to put out projects, but actually put out a project, have a marketing scheme, a budget, mixed, mastered, all that good stuff. This is my second album, but I always put out EPs, mixtapes, all that stuff in between it.
God is more concerned with how you're going to get there, because you're going to get there. Just be concerned with how you get there. So one time in the air for your dreams.
Every situation, you go through the 6-step process. Okay. So it's observe, reflect, discuss, plan, accountability, and act. So, for example, this moment that we're in right now is a Kairos moment. We could observe what's going on, reflect on, what got us here, discuss it, plan after we go from that side and discuss everything, then we go to the action side where you plan, you get a planned set of action, you get some steps, you get some accountability, people around you, friends, family.
Are you sleeping or are you dreaming? Are you sleeping or are you dreaming? Are you sleeping or are you dreaming?
Yeah.
Are you sleeping or are you?
My DJ O Sharp, who works with J. Rawls, Polar Entertainment, all that cool stuff. He's my DJ, he's also my mentor, one of my best friends. And he said something really profound to me. He said, I went on tour last year. I went on a tour called the Even If I Lose Tour, and I was all over the place. Went to New York, all these other places, and he asked me, so are you trying to travel around the world and do your music? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then he said, well, do you know your neighbor 5 houses down? And I said, no. So he was like, how do you expect to you know, affect people with your message all over the world, but you're not even focusing on your local community. And I think for a lot of artists, especially rappers, we're so prideful. To be called a local rapper is almost like a slap in the face, but it's an honor to go somewhere in your community and be looked at and treated with respect and be able to leverage that sort of community feel where I can be touched, I can be accessed. It's not this big celebrity superstar thing because you see me on television, you hear me on the radio, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just a guy who lives in Columbus. So I've really been focusing on that, whether it's, you know, focusing on working with my church, The Way Columbus, whether it's just purposely taking shows in the city, whether it's volunteering, trying to get some food shelters and some working with some of the homeless shelters here in the city, just really focusing on Columbus, because I believe that Columbus, in the next 2 years, a lot of people aren't going to recognize the city. I think there's going to be a renaissance spiritually, artistically, financially, economically, visually. I just feel like in the next 2 to 3 years, it's going to be totally different. And honestly, I want to be a part of that.
My daddy asked if I die for what I believed in. Take a bullet for truth or live facetious. Make my own path or squeeze in. Cower with the crowd or lead millions.
Welcome to TV Show The Booth. I'm your host, Shay Tolliver. Today we're at the National Center for Urban Solutions, the national organizing sponsors of the National African American Male Wellness Walk. Today I'm with Perry Gregory, Vice President of Workforce Development. Mr. Gregory, this walk has grown for 11 years, going into its 11th year. Tell me why this walk is so important.
Well, first and foremost, black men are dying. Black men die of the 5 most preventable diseases, and we don't have to die. And so 11 years ago, John Gregory and a group of community leaders came together to really target this disparity that's really happening in our community. Black men die of the 5 most preventable diseases, and we don't have to. Some of those are HIV, diabetes, hypertension. And these are preventable diseases that really, we can prevent these diseases if we, A, go to the doctor, exercise regularly, and know our numbers. So the initiative is really about increasing the health awareness in African American males.
So now I want to go back to something you just said. You said preventable. You know, is that something that we suffer from in the African American community where we have more self-inflicting disparities on us versus, you know, things that are out of our control?
Well, since they're preventable diseases, these are diseases that are really that we can control. So if you look at hypertension, high blood pressure, those are the diseases that we can control by A, working out, going to the doctor on a regular basis, monitoring our blood pressure levels. You look at diabetes, some of those are preventable by eating habits, exercising regularly.
Now, Mr. Gregory, your father, you said he got together with some community leaders. And why? What sparked them to see this vision to have a walk dedicated to raise awareness for our health?
Well, actually, Mr. Gregory was doing a research project with Dr. Mark White, who's our medical director, 11 years ago. And we had about 100 guys, and they wanted to see the correlation between why African American males didn't attend work regularly. And so out of that research project, we found that we tested about 100 guys, in which we had gave them employment opportunities where they was making between $12 to $17 an hour. And so out of that project, we found that 85% of the men that tested were sick.
So like, what were the age ranges of these men?
And these ages range from 18 and up to 50.
Wow. Now, I know this was your father's vision for this walk. Tell me, why is it important to Perry Gregory as one of the leading coordinators for the initiative?
Well, the most important reason why it's important to me, because black males are dying. And I think from a young African-American perspective, I think it's important for me that I continue to spread this word, because I think it's important for all the African-American males across the country to catch on to this, because we don't have to die from these preventable diseases. And for me, with my father having some sickness issues, it really has become more important, even for my own self, to say, hey, you got to take care of yourself.
When you talk about how big is this thing, you know, now it's the national. It started 11 years ago, right around the corner on a street in the African American community. Now that it's a national walk, what is the appeal of it?
I think because when people come to the event, they see the impact. We did 4,000 screenings overall last year. We did the most prostate screenings in any health event in Central Ohio. We actually did over 200 prostate screenings. When it comes to the HIV screenings, we did over 275 HIV screenings, in which the HIV committee said that was the most screenings that they had did at any event. On a national level, we have about 10 different cities that are coming on board next year. We have LA, we have Cincinnati, we have Cleveland, we have St. Louis, we have New Orleans, we have Tampa, Florida, we have Atlanta, Georgia. So I think the more African-American male leaders are starting to really see this as an important issue in our community and starting to latch on to it.
When I come to the African-American Male Wellness Walk, what will I see?
You're going to see about 300 African-American males waiting in line to get screened. There's this disparity out there to say that black men don't want to get tested, but when you come to the walk, you're going to see the excitement of people waiting in line to get tested to see their results. We have a kids event that we do. You're going to see about 500 kids out there. They're doing a healthy living cook-off. You know, they have lots of activities for kids. You're going to see people volunteering. You're going to see, overall, you're going to really see the community coming together as a whole to really make this thing happen.
Come out and get tested because death can strike you at any time. It shows no favoritism, and it's free, most of all for people who may not have money. And if you do have money, you just was afraid to go to the doctor, you come down here and get your status on your cholesterol, you can get your status on your HIV, you can get your status on prostate cancer, all these type of things are free and it's confidential. And that's why I urge all black men to come down for free to just stay alive as long as you can, if not for your children, for your family, but for yourself, because it's such a beautiful life.
Welcome to this special edition of TV Show The Booth called Community Action, where we highlight people in the community who take it upon themselves and the initiative to make a positive impact in their community. Today, we're with Mr. Patrick Fair Sr. on the east side of Columbus, who has a youth fitness camp right out of his own backyard. What Mr. Fair does is every morning from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., he does everything it takes to get the youth mind, body, and soul together. So, Mr. Fair, we salute you on your community action.
Over here, we're training kids, getting kids in shape, trying to get kids prepared for the next level. I got a mixture of CrossFit training and boxing training. Some of these kids play boxing, wrestle, play football, basketball, soccer, volleyball, tennis. Some of them chefs. Get them in shape mentally, physically. You combine the two, you get the ultimate athlete. This athlete is able to do any sport, participate in any activity, and be successful. I took my son to several recreation centers and paid people to coach my son, and I feel like I wasn't getting, as a parent, what I should have been getting, paying them type of money. So I took it on myself to train my own son, and I got better results. Well, I always told my son to believe in himself first. And if he didn't believe in himself, nobody would. And then through this journey, it's a lonely man's journey. So he had to want it more than anybody else on earth. I can give you the confidence, I can tell you whatever, but if you don't want to go get it, you're not going to get it.
So are you guys having fun?
Yes, sir. I'm 15 years old, and I've been boxing for 2 years. I like it because it's your mind, body, and soul, and I'm very dedicated to it. And in the future, I want to become a pro boxer. I want to become an undefeated one, and after that, I want to help the community and get back in charity.
Proud of you, sir. Keep up the good work, champ.
Thank you.
Each one teach one. If I can help somebody better themselves, then God's doing his work through me.
Right.
I feel like it's not just about boxing. It's not just about the sports. It's about education. Mm-hmm. And if they hitting their books and they're obeying their parents, doing the right things, then they can come over here. I am not just trying to reach my son. I'm trying to reach all the kids that come around me, the whole community.
This is TV Show The Booth. More of what you want.
One of my friends got into it. He lived next door to me. And, you know, my coach also noticed my dad. You know, I'm not calling my dad. You know, they came over one day to pick him up for practice, and I just rode along and, you know, advanced past everybody. Started started boxing at Thompsons Recreation. That's the only place I've ever boxed, you know what I'm saying? That's all I know. I mean, we went other places, you know, to spar, but you know, your boxers do that. You know, you go other places to spar, but Thompsons is where everything started. So, you know, I left my landmark back there. So, you know what I mean? This is what it is. My coach's name is Robert Johnson. You know, we call him Coach Junie. It's more like the father that I never had, you know what I'm saying? Cause I had my bad terms, and when I was down, you know, and you know, he stuck with me through that, and you know, he's just been with me through everything, the good and the bad. So just, you know, all around good God, man. I can't, you know what I mean, complain. I wouldn't trade him for nobody. I'm not, you know what I mean. As far as me, when I turn pro, my coaches stand with me. If my coach can't come with me, you know, I'm not signing with nobody. I don't care who it is.
Well, back home. Home sweet home, right?
This might be something that you need, you know, step out and try something new.
I am Renee Dion, singer-songwriter, and one half of We Are Art and Soul. I am the director, writer, videographer, and yeah.
Wife.
And wife.
I'm Eric Jefferson. I'm the other half of We Are Art and Soul. I'm a graphic designer, oil painter, visual artist. I'm also a video editor, writer, and husband.
We were young ones.
Guess I got a call one of these days.
My name is Lloyd Gatson, or Lloyd G, or Lloyd Jeezy. I play myself / Eric Jefferson in Date Night. I play a bachelor artist, and I date a young lady.
I am Tiffany Williams. I play the character Tiffany, who is Deja's best friend, kind of like the sidekick. I'm trying to give her some advice along the way.
Not knowing what it was, fear was my fault.
My name is Deja. I play the role of Self. Well, not Self. Her character's name is Deja. My name. I'm playing myself. But yeah, I'm actually depicting a little bit of Renee, who is also an artist. She's a musical artist, just kind of on a journey, filling it out, trying to see where life's gonna take her.
Figured it out, I'm not the jealous type.
So I was in the middle of working on an album, and you know, sometimes I think artistically and creatively you can get bored. So I went to my husband. I said, how can we promote this next album? You know, I don't want to do it the regular way of just putting it on social media, trying to get on all the blogs that I can. So I went to him, and we went to one of our other marketing geniuses, Marshall Shorts. And we just kind of came up with the idea of doing either a documentary or a web series. And as time went on, we just said, you know what, let's just do this web series. Let's kind of package that with the album. But after we started, something really beautiful happened. It became more about this web series and less about the music. So yeah, Date Night just started from an album, and now it has become something completely different, a passion.
Undoing the past, not knowing where to start.
I'm Anthony Levan, and this is What's Good to Eat. These are the ingredients you will need to make sweet potato cheesecake. First, wrap your 2 sweet potatoes in foil and place in the oven on 350 for 1 hour. Let's peel our sweet potatoes and place the flesh into our bowl and blend until smooth. Set that aside until later. Now let's make the crust first. You add 1.5 cups of graham cracker crumbs and then add the sugar. I'll add about a teaspoon of cinnamon to mine. And then butter. Stir until consistency is like sand. Pour crust into the bottom of the 9-inch spring-form pan and press down until firm. Place crust in the oven on 350 for about 10 minutes and 1.5 cups of puree in the bowl. Then your 3 packages of cream cheese, add sour cream, and heavy whipping cream. Now add a 3/4 cup of sugar, then 3 eggs, one at a time. Mix ingredients completely on low speed. Now let's scrape this down the side of the bowl and then turn the mixer back on just to make sure it's mixed well. Remove crust from oven. Now let's add the sweet potato cheesecake filling into the crust. Smooth out evenly, turn down oven to 350. Place cake in the oven. Also, place a pan of water underneath the cake to prevent the cake from cracking. Cook for 1 hour and 15 minutes. Now let's make our topping for our cheesecake. In a saucepan, melt 4 tablespoons of butter and add brown sugar and pecans. Mix until it comes to a boil. Then turn the heat off and add heavy cream. Stir until all ingredients are mixed. Pour on top of our warm cake. Chill in fridge for about 3 to 4 hours and serve. And that's What's Good to Eat. I'm Anthony Levan.